Good morning. Welcome to Bondi Radio. This is your creative journey with Jane Turner. And I'm absolutely thrilled to have my guest Kathy Wong with me today. Kathy is a serial entrepreneur and she wound up her business in design when she was 42. There was then 10 years that I want to hear about, but I know that's not the big story. There was 10 years then before Kathy got the calling to go back to business and to use what she does best to help children in poverty. And the creative solution that Kathy has to achieve that end goal is just nothing short of inspirational. So I want to hear all about everything, Kathy, but let's start at the end this time and tell me about how it is that you're making a difference in children's lives.
Right, well thanks Jane. First of all, thank you so much for having me on your show, and I'm just absolutely in awe of the view. You should see what I'm looking at, guys. I've got Bondi Beach right in front of me, so I'll try not to be distracted. So start at the end. Okay, well currently I create rubber flip-flops. Have to say flip-flops because we sell in America and Americans don't relate too well when you say thongs.
There's another kind of thong that they probably comes to mind.
You go, not that one. Anyway, and those rubber flip-flops, should I show you them?
Well, let's do it. Yes. So, and this is a little prompt for anybody who's not watching this on Facebook or YouTube. A little prompt to go back and watch because you don't want to miss seeing the flip-flops / thongs. So yeah, let's get some. These are A, they're beautiful, but B, what they achieve. Yeah, let me grab. I'm going to grab my favourites, which are
that's the ones you wear, right?
The purple. Look at that. And on the back is that they leave a message in the sand. That's probably not so easy to see, but the message that these ones leave in the sand is great on the left foot and full on the right foot. And what a message. I just want to do that for a minute because look how beautiful, how grateful am I that I met you, and how grateful really that this idea came to you and that you've leveraged it so well, Kathy. So
thank you.
And what's the ones you've got here now?
And this one here is the I Am Peace one. So very, very good when I'm having a day that's not very necessarily peaceful. I slap these on and I'm instantly reminded to be peaceful.
There's a good reason to get 7 pairs of thongs, I reckon. How many different messages?
There are 7. One for each day.
All right.
A different message each day you can wear.
Yes. And so what happens then? How are the thongs helping kids in poverty?
Yeah, well, the way it works is every pair we sell, Jane, we then give a pair of school shoes. They're actually canvas sneakers, but in India, which we're currently supporting, that's all they need for a school shoe.
Got it.
And the reason, people ask all the time, why shoes? Why aren't you giving something else?
Yeah.
And shoes are just really important because they allow you to go to school.
That's the big one, isn't it?
That's the big one, because the only way we can fight poverty is through education.
You bet.
And, and why are they allowed to go to school if they don't own shoes? Because these kids, when we talk about walking barefoot in Australia, we're thinking maybe concrete, grass, but these kids are walking over raw sewage, they're walking over building sites with, industrial waste, and so the conditions are pretty bad. And so those conditions can actually lead to all sorts of diseases.
Sure.
And so the school's afraid that if a child has no shoes, they might be carrying disease, they'll spread it through the school. So those diseases can actually be life-threatening, unfortunately, and as we said, prevent them from going to school. So that's why we do shoes.
Got it. And how did this come about? How did did you travel to India and saw that and just thought, no, it's not good. It's not good enough.
It's interesting. I'd never been to India till after I started this.
Okay.
So it was about a year and a few months after we started. We actually then went to India to do our first shoe drop, meet the children and give them the shoes ourselves. But no, it was simply a whole series of events that lined up.
Okay.
After I had my epiphany that I wanted to make a difference in the world, I very quickly, within maybe a week or two, an article came across, and I don't even know where it came from.
Oh, yes, okay.
You know how these things happen?
These things happen. Mm.
And the article was about these children in the world. There's over 300 million of them, Jane, without shoes. And it was like,
wow.
I can't believe this.
What
I'm
a
such
figure.
a shoeaholic.
Oh, that's, oh God,
You know?
that's the whole other side of the coin, isn't it?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm such a
I had
typical
no
woman with
idea.
shoes.
That's a horrendous figure.
Yeah, 300 million, over 300 million that we know of. They don't own shoes.
Yeah.
And then there was the consequences of them not owning shoes, you know, poverty. I was very ignorant about poverty. I just thought, you know, people don't have access to food, shelter, school, but I didn't know about, you know, human trafficking. I didn't know about organ harvesting.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I read this article, I don't know, I just thought I had to do something, Jane. I just felt very compelled to do something.
And where were you in your own journey at that stage, Kathy? You'd been, with that gap you had from closing your design business to then really going in 100% with this. What were you just sort of cogitating, chilling out, you know?
Probably all of the above, you know. I was having a great life. I had a dream life, Jane. I was travelling around the world. I moved to the country, lived on a, you know, acreage in the Southern Highlands.
Oh, beautiful.
Which was beautiful. I learned everything I could about organic, you know, vegetable patches and bottling fruit and bottling canning and you know, all sorts of things.
Yes, yes.
And then in about the last 4 years, about 10 years, I just felt that I needed to do something. So I reinvented myself and transitioned into a jewellery artisan.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I travelled the world learning everything I could about mixed media jewellery.
Oh, wow.
And then I ended up teaching for 4 years.
God. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is amazing then. You are, would I say, naturally creative?
Yes.
Is that,
well, I like to consider myself creative.
No, I think it would be hard to argue that you weren't.
Yeah, well, it's funny, you know, I started off doing the jewellery, so I could do everything from, you know, use precious metals to, you know, take a torch and light up a baby's nappy liner to deconstruct that because it turns into a plastic.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know, not too healthy for the kids, I'm sure.
Ooh.
But made great treatments for jewellery.
Wow.
And then somehow I then started getting an interest into sustainability, recycling, and I started to get a specialisation in boiling up everything I could find around the property to create eco-dyeing of fabrics and deconstruct existing clothing that you know, recycle it and then re-dye it using these methods. So that was pretty crazy.
Wow. Well, confession time. Is
that
I'm
we might be here for a while.
No, not. Well, yeah, you perhaps you do know me well enough to know that that's a possibility. But I'm sitting here feeling as envious as all hell, because here and you are just explaining what appears to have been an easeful unfolding of creative ideas from probably a very early age or whenever. I mean, we haven't gone back that far, but I'm sensing that you are someone who hasn't resisted creativity in any of its forms.
No, I embrace it fully.
Gorgeous.
Just love it.
And look at what happens though is that you get the ball rolling, or you let the ball roll.
Yeah.
You haven't had to, you know, work hard and dig deep and all of this. Is so polar opposite to my unfolding in a state of desperation at being made redundant at the age of 52. You know, I'd been comfortably practicing out of my left brain forever. With some opening up when I took some coaching training. You know, there was some kind of instinct that took me into an arena that was very different. That took me into a place of great pain because of my great skills at resistance. That great pain took me on a journey and I had to be pushed because I wasn't going to jump. But the being pushed helped me to see I did have the parachute.
Yeah.
There was a soft landing and I didn't need to struggle, and if I didn't struggle then things like creativity would start to bubble up. It appears to be a natural birthright of
does.
sorts. But yes, you. It's wonderful to hear how much you've been able to achieve via your instinct about what can be done, and your awareness of the whole sustainability question. This is what I wasn't aware of, Kathy, about you. That
I could.
not that that the whole thong matter is in fact a question of how do we sustain a planet where so much of the population is not enabled to be educated, for example, to learn how to learn, and to be given opportunities that, things about school that you may not be the most academic person in the world. That's not all that you're going to learn at school. Exactly. You're going to learn connectedness, you're going to learn cooperation and all those kind of things.
Yeah, well, this is right. I mean, I love your story. I'd love to hear more. And I think that one of the big lessons I've learned in all of this, Jane, is, we are all connected at the end of the day.
Oh, yes.
And, and so for me, my whole journey has been about learning to connect to myself and who I am.
Okay.
And then in that process, I have then learned to connect so deeply, into others. And that's also where creativity lies.
Oh, yes.
I really believe that. When you are tapped in, tuned in, turned on into that place, then that just opens up, this incredible energy, vibration, whatever you want to call it, to attract all sorts of things.
All sorts of things,
Yes.
such as you being here today.
Yes, exactly.
That was,
exactly.
we won't go into the detail, but that was a clear point of attraction. I saw you in the room. In fact, you tapped me on the shoulder, I think, and then there was never any point beyond that where it wasn't going to result in you being here.
That's
How cool
right. Really cool.
How cool. Wow. So back to then the question of the thongs, and this is like the ripple effect here is amazing, where that results in somebody in Sydney or wherever in the Western world, and not everybody in the Western world has the means. So this isn't a Western versus Eastern. It's not that everyone in the Eastern world doesn't have the means, but let's say that someone now is watching, thinks, oh my God, it's 2 weeks to Christmas. I got to get me a pair or 10 of those thongs because that's a perfect gift to somebody else, and that person who receives this gift knows that is a gift that is also going to a child to enable them to go to school. And I wonder, can you share with us the difference that you've been able to see this making? You go now over to India, obviously, and see the kids with the shoes and what happens in their lives.
Oh, look, it's amazing, because when we talk about impacting someone's life, there's obviously what we've spoken about already. The immediate impact that we can see is, children getting access to education. But one of the things that I have seen over and over again is how we are giving a child self-worth.
Oh, yes.
Right? Because, a lot of these children have grown up now. People are often under the wrong impression that all these children are orphans. They're not all orphans. However, they more or less are orphans because their parents can't afford to keep them alive. I heard a story the other day where a child was sold for €2 because the family, just too poor to be able to keep the child. And it's commonplace for children by the age of 5 to run away from home. They've got parents, but they're being subjected to a life of abuse, because the children are being treated as slaves. There are means of providing income, for the family. So you can imagine, coming from those sorts of very stressful backgrounds, what that must do to you. And so being able to, I've seen children who were totally disconnected, couldn't look you in the eye, very, very sad.
No trust.
Where'd
you get trust from an environment like that? Where'd you learn trust? And
then to see them, a little bit later on, that the fact that, we've given them a pair of shoes that someone cares about them.
That's it.
And doesn't want anything from them. You know, it's that old quote about, you know, what's that quote about, you know, if you give somebody something and never expect anything, that is the ultimate act of kindness, right?
Yes.
And that's what it's like. And so these children, suddenly their confidence is raised, they're, you know, and they're happy.
Everything changes.
Yeah, so that's an outcome that's difficult to put a defined measurement on it. Oh,
exactly.
But
that's it, yes. If you were to go to a funding body to get more, you know, to get funds to build this bigger, yes, what's the bottom line? What can you can't quantify that. Yes,
no, that's right. So that's you know, that's part of what we see. And then the children who have actually then had access to education and seeing where their lives have taken them, you know, some of them are becoming barristers, you know. There's either also astrophysicians, is that what they're called?
Something like that.
Yeah, and to see these kids have now these lives that can be very, very different, and then they're coming back to the charity that we work with to inspire the other children, you know, because...
Oh my God. This is like the...
that's a full circle.
Absolutely, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what you call potential.
Yeah.
That's what you call the real potential to change the world, isn't it?
That's
Starts
right.
with a pair of thongs, leads to a pair of shoes, leads to a kid becoming an astrophysicist.
Yes.
I can't, you know, it's almost hard to believe.
It is hard to believe, and there's also the other...
But so is the other side of it.
Yes.
That the world doesn't work in the way that it works here for us, and we're looking at Bondi Beach and we're having our cups of coffee and I'm boldly drinking, you know, and just abject comfort. You know, we subject ourselves to stress about having the perfect Christmas dinner and, you know, really, God, wake up.
Wake up, exactly. And, you know, the other thing too that I've seen, whilst I've seen incredible hardship, I have seen incredible joy. And, you know, who's to say whose life is better?
Well,
you know?
Indeed, judgment is not a valuable tool in the circumstances.
Exactly. And, you know, I have seen communities there with nothing. In fact, we had a situation where the group of people we were travelling with, one of them had, you know, torn jeans, which of course is a designer statement, right? And a person in the slum just ran out and gave him a pair of jeans.
Oh.
He gave him his jeans because he thought that this person needed it more than him. You know, and so the sense of community and connection is something that I think a lot of people in the Western world can learn from.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Oh, God. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So tell me your design, because there's two sides to this this scenario, and in fact I'm now writing actually my fourth book, and it's called The Creative Code, and if with your permission your story will be in it.
Oh, love
because this whole thing has bubbled up from my time at Bondi Radio and the people I talk to, and there are two sides to the scenario, and a little bit like the fact that an article came past your eyes that led to the idea of, you know, all of this, because you found out how many kids weren't able to go to school because, you know, for various reasons didn't have shoes. Well, I was reading the New Yorker a couple of weeks ago, and there was an article in it, Carrie Batan. I should actually acknowledge her because last week I spoke about this at some length and I could not remember the poor woman's name, but Carrie Batan wrote about the writer's way in an age of self-awareness, self-reflection, self-something. It's the age now, of course, that didn't exist in 1992 when the author's way was written. And this lady, Carrie, writes, you know, if I was to be talking to Julia Cameron now, I would ask for an updated version for the 20-somethings who now work in a freelance economy. There aren't so many options now for the job for life, and in the freelance economy we have to work out how to make a buck, that's not my language, not hers, how to make a buck from every available goddamn skill that we have. And I would love to share, because you obviously know how to turn creativity into certainly a living, but more than a living. You are, you know, paying forward Very much so. So if you can share anything about your entrepreneurship, any tips, tricks, and certainly even going back to the fact, and again, confession time, I'm thinking, oh my God, this woman could retire at 42? How do you do that? You were obviously very good at business.
I think I was in the right place at the right time as well. That was the 80s. There was a lot of money around at that time. I was very fortunate. But if I look at why that was successful, look, I've always been a people person.
Okay.
It was from the days of my parents having a Chinese restaurant where I learnt to connect to people. I was a pain in the butt, I'm sure, at the age of 3 or 2, whatever it was. Walking around talking to customers all the time with my little pad and crayons. And
no, you were a business development strategy for your parents, yes.
I don't know about that, but anyway, so, I have always been very people orientated, and I think that one of the secrets of business at the end of the day, it's about relationships. Of course, you need to have a good product, you need to have a good service, but there's so many great products and so many great services out there. Why do some fail and why don't some?
Yes.
I believe some of it's in timing, but I also believe it's about the people behind the business.
Yes.
And it's about how they then, relate to their customers and their communities.
Yeah.
And I think even more so now where we live in this world where there's so many ways to connect, Jane.
Yes.
But there is so much more disconnection than has ever existed, right?
That's right. There's connect in the inverted commas, and then there's connect.
That's right, that sort of technology part, and then there's the human connection. So a lot of what I have done has just been instinctive.
Okay, yeah.
It's just not, I'm not a person that, I don't get time to do a lot of reading. Yes, I probably have been a workshop junkie.
Oh, yes,
like
hello.
Most of us,
yeah.
But I never seem to have time to, put those things into practice.
Yes, implement.
So I'm very experiential and intuitive.
Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, the things that I'm pulling together from people like you, and about 3 weeks back I had Monica Davidson on here, and she runs her whole business called Creative Plus Business is all about helping creative people not to go broke. Not to have to sell their house, not to be using their creativity on the side, to be able to actually just do the basic, the dollars and cents of it, the basic accounting, the basic in a state like New South Wales, in Australia where we live, and we're talking to people all over the world here, but the New South Wales government has recognised that actually creatives are part of the future of this state.
Most definitely. I mean, unfortunately in other countries they get this better than we do in Australia.
Even in other states, Victoria whoops the pants off New South Wales, but somebody like Monica is now in a position to offer 4 hours of free business coaching. Take this up, people.
Oh, wow.
4 hours of free business coaching. Now, she is funded by the New South Wales government to do that.
How fantastic.
Is that not fantastic?
That's fantastic.
So, Creative Plus Business, look that up. If you're in New South Wales anywhere, it's worth a trip. Oh, she can do Skype, Monica now has other people. She is so in demand. She has other people providing this because, this stuff is important. And it's all about, not that I have all the answers, but the state of the world at the moment is where all of the head thinkers have kind of got us to, and now it's the heart thinkers who are coming up.
Coming out
That's
in force, which is wonderful to see. Because I really believe. So I do get that line of questioning a fair bit around, business skills. What business skills would you like to share, and blah blah blah. And I just feel, business skills is something that can be acquired.
This is right.
You get the right people, but at the heart of everything that we do, it's not just business, it's the heart, right? And it's so good to see that we're coming into an age of this consciousness where people are starting to recognise that.
Yes.
Even now there's still quite a lot of, focus and emphasis on IT startups, for instance.
Oh, yes.
And that whole technology piece. And yes, technology we use as an enabler, but it doesn't replace, behind that technology has to be the creativity, right?
That's right. The whole point of the technology is to get the the thing, whatever it happens to be, you know, the thing
It's just a
that
delivery
people
platform.
are longing. It's a delivery.
It's just a delivery
It's
platform,
like a
nothing
newspaper
more.
in a way,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
Facebook is a new kind of newspaper.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, exciting time. So that's really how I just see it. And for me, you know, the whole journey of being an entrepreneur, right, is a journey of self, as you know, right, Jane? But I feel that doing a business where you want to make a difference is definitely like doing a PhD in the journey of yourself. You know?
Nicely put.
I really feel that it's really pushed my own limits, my belief systems. It's pushed me in every single direction, but in a good way.
Yes.
To really understand that, and the more obstacles I face, the more I realise I have to go more inside to find the answers.
Yeah, yeah. Are you familiar with Joseph Campbell's great book,
Yes.
Hero of a Thousand Faces?
Yes.
Yeah. Barely an episode of this show goes by where I don't mention it. But
Right.
For anybody listening or watching, if you haven't already, if this is your first episode that you've listened to or watched, really I recommend you go onto YouTube and put the words Hero's Journey in, and the first video that will come up for you is a TED Ed video which aligns the explanation of what the hero's journey is about, and our lives are hero's journeys. Starting business, the hero's journeys. Certainly in my own case, writing my first book was a hero's journey. This particular TED Ed video will align that with the Hunger Games, so that you can go in, you know, outside of that left part of the brain if you're inclined to be stuck there, and you can go back into that more trancey area where you can just watch a story unfolding and then see that there's a pattern in there, and there's a pattern in our lives, and it is the obstacles that are the great gifts in the end.
That's right. That's
It
where
doesn't
we
feel
really
like
learn.
it hurts like hell at the time,
Yes,
probably,
like,
but
yeah.
And look, where will you be in 12 months or 5 years, Kathy? What are your plans?
Yeah. It's a really good question, because, you know, I'm a reformed control freak.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And so I was the girl who had, you know, my 5-year plans, my 10-year plans, and it's something else that I've learned over this last few years that I've been doing what I'm doing, that yes, you have a certain plan, but I've learned to be really fluid in my plans, because business has also changed, I've got to say, from the days when, you know, in the 80s when I had started my first business, and so it's just changing so rapidly, and I think also with this level of consciousness that's evolving, as we've just discussed, I feel that one of the biggest strengths you can have as a person in general, but how it then works in business is just even more so, is the ability to be really in tune with what's going on at the moment.
Oh yes,
and be in flow or be in alignment to, and you know, there's that word pivot that's used a lot. Being able to pivot as quickly as you can in business these days, and I really do believe that. I probably use the word just change, you know.
Okay.
How quickly can you change and adapt to whatever the market forces are happening at that time, or whatever the particular issue is.
Okay, yeah.
So
have you got an example of where you've had to do that, kind of think on your feet and change?
I suppose it's a lot of that has happened, like with the manufacturing, for instance.
Excellent.
Of our products.
Opportunity to talk about what this means.
Yeah,
good.
I think that's probably been an area, because I have no background in manufacturing or retailing, Jane, and so that was a very steep learning curve.
Yes.
And being able to, you know, being able to ride through whatever situation was, if a manufacturing run had gone off gone off into some weird place that it wasn't meant to, in even looking at how we market our product and our distribution channels, even though we did, you know, customer research focus groups, it wasn't until we were actually out there that we discovered, you know, certain characteristics or areas that we needed to address that we hadn't planned on.
Okay.
So lots of situations like that and continue to happen.
Yes. Yeah. And you saw a gap in the market with the thongs.
I just saw that, you know, thongs were such a big footwear product. They grow 10% every year. It was a very mature product, and most importantly, what I saw, apart from all the business reasons as to why to use thongs, was I saw that you know, here we have a story of these children without shoes. And, you know, I mean, what do thongs mean to you, Jane, when you think about a pair of thongs? What do they mean? What sort of words are conjured up or feelings, you know?
It's kind of relaxation. It's summer.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So it's fun,
yes,
happy times,
that's
good
it.
vibes, right?
That's
yeah.
it.
And here we have these children where shoes are considered a luxury, and we don't even think about a pair of thongs, you know, they're just something we have that do mean happy times. So I thought it was the perfect vehicle to tell the story.
Beautiful.
Because it was a complete juxtaposition of, you know, how we see them here in the Western world to what is happening with the children.
So again, this is how a creative mind works. Not everybody's mind works like that, Kathy. I'm glad we could sort of tease that out a little bit. That was really important.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't really think about these things.
No,
So
we all
interesting
think.
having this
Yeah,
conversation.
that's right. We all take for granted so much
We do. Yeah.
what we can share.
Yes, that's true. And then further to that, Jane, was you know the fact that the shoes leave a positive imprint in the sand, right? And I really there's a few reasons for how it all came together that I should also add. I wanted people to think about what's the social footprint they're leaving in the world.
Okay.
And I chose these positive words because in my life, I've always turned to affirmations, to quotes, to positive statements to get me through difficult times.
Okay.
And so I just felt that I wanted something that was going to provide these different messages and inspiration to people at the same time. So that's how the product all came together.
Beautiful. And I mean, these messages, and again, I'm going to hold this up for the people who can see it, but these beautiful thongs, on the one side is a beautiful artwork, and I'll get you to tell me a little bit more about that, and then on the other side is the imprint that you can make in the sand. And what I see here is that there's a message going out, but there's a message coming in, because you're putting your foot, and we underestimate our feet. I mean, I've got my hand in it right now, but we underestimate the importance of our feet. Yeah. And of course, to ground yourself, I've got to take this advice a bit more. Take your shoes off, put your feet in the sand, in the water, on the grass. Yeah. But look at that, at what's coming back is just a beautiful piece of a positive affirmation. I mean, the world is full of beauty, and to be getting that message up as well is what struck me about these. But tell me a little bit about this. I'm holding up the beautiful purple. I can't really describe, can't do justice for the people who are only listening, but it's a beautiful purple hues on here and a gold, what do you call that bit that holds it on your foot?
Strap. We call that our more blingy shoe.
The blingy shoe. I've got
dressy thong, if there can be a dressy thong.
And who designed?
Well,
these
we've got a
for
wonderful girl called Libby, and Libby has been part of our community ever since we started. She's a friend of mine, so between us we designed the shoes. But Libby, you know, here's a perfect example of creativity. She has become a designer though during this time together because I knew she was passionate about this and wanted to help. And to me, I could see that in her, and so I said, would you like to help create these with me? And that's how that came about. And through the process, it's really ignited her creative.
I was going to say, because if someone who's not a designer created that, then we've got to call bullshit on some of these titles that we give ourselves, what we say we are and we're not, the labels.
Exactly.
Yeah, you would have to, I mean, honestly. That's gorgeous.
And you know, it's like what I said a bit earlier. I think I spoke about when you're truly on purpose with something, that's when you're at your highest creative state. That's when you, and that's what I've seen come out with Libby on this process.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you're taking some time off over Christmas, Kathy? You're going to get some
little bit of time,
but I guess in your business, maybe there's a real lead-up phase to a time like Christmas.
This is a really busy time for us, and also it's summer.
Of course, where we are.
Yes, that's right. And the other thing that I forgot to mention when you asked, where are we going? A very important part of it is, Jane, that we're actually building a youth movement at the moment.
Oh, right.
So we have a number of teenagers who at the ages of 11, 8, 14 have started social enterprises like us.
Oh my gosh.
Where they have their own causes, and they're selling a service or business or product, I should say, so that they can give back as well. And I have been so inspired by them. And it is something that it wasn't on my radar.
No, got it.
And so they've been reaching out, and we've been collaborating with these young people. And in fact, I went to India with 2 young kids, who had a fashion brand, and they gave school uniforms whilst I gave my shoes.
Oh, this is huge.
Yeah, so this is an area that we're now looking into. How can we help more of these youths? Because
how did these ones? They just saw you on social media, or their friends of friends or something?
No, I was connected when I was travelling in earlier in this year. I was travelling in the States, and I met somebody from our community who I've known for 3 years, and we had coffee, and she said, "How can I help you?" And I said, "It's always great to meet more people who want to change the world." She introduced me to one of her friends, Karen, and Karen introduced me to the 2 teenagers who started NALU. And my life is a series of those connections.
That's it. Okay.
There's nothing random. It might feel random at the time, but there's always a purpose behind it. And so, and just as you highlighted a little bit earlier, you talked about children and the education system. Well, we're finding now that a lot of these children are realising that the current education system is not the be-all and end-all. And, and so a lot of these children are about really trying to tap into what their strengths and purpose. They have such a strong sense of self at such an early age.
Nice.
So all the things that we've discussed today, I'm seeing now happening in these youths. And so we are now building a youth movement, and I don't really know where that's going to go. We have a few thoughts, and can't share those with you.
No, fair enough. This is very exciting. I'm going to watch this space.
Well, they're the future change makers, right? They are the future.
They are, and why have to go through 12 years of education? I mean, they've got to do that.
Yes.
But, and they're learning things as they go along, even though they're not necessarily hooked into the maths that they're learning, or whatever it is that isn't necessarily serving them. There's no downplaying the importance of that whole experience that they get, but why have to wait until you're 17 to be able to get this kind of thinking up and going, especially if they're naturally inclined towards that?
Right, they're natural leaders, and they're so powerful. Like one of them, Juliet, has raised $37,000 for motor neuron disease research through her lemonade business. Oh no! Because her mission is she will not stop till she finds the cure. She's now on to finding the money for her second research at Macquarie Uni. I can cite example after example of these children, and so I feel that having someone like myself who is at the other end of the spectrum with their age and their experience, and the combination, because there's certain things that we have that they don't have, and vice
versa. How much are you learning as well?
Exactly. Oh, so much. And so that to me is a really great synergy.
You bet. And so are you essentially mentoring them, or what's
so providing connections for opportunities, business opportunities for them, doing a little bit of mentoring, doing a lot of providing collaborations for them
this is
others.
Is the thing.
One of them we're actually looking at collaborating on a product together at the moment. So I just feel that there's a lot of opportunities. I don't even know what they are.
No, well that's it, and that being comfortable with not knowing is a whole part of the game plan, or is a helpful part of the game plan to be flexible enough to be ready to, as you say, that word pivot. It's a tricky word, isn't it?
Yes.
But to pivot when there's an opportunity that could be missed.
That's right.
If you're not, if you're not open and awake and ready.
Exactly. And I just love their enthusiasm. They have this attitude of, well, why can't I do this? There's nothing they can't do, which we as adults tend to lose that because we get, there's all sort of factors that come into play that change our conditioning.
You bet.
Around that. So it's very refreshing. And talk about creativity. Creativity unleashed when you're dealing with youth.
Gorgeous. But you know what? There's two kinds of people in the world. There's the people who'll ask, why can't I do this?
Yes.
And there's the people who will have never thought to put that first word there.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
With it. Yeah.
Put the word why in front and you're empowered.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're naturally curious beings.
Yes.
And for every problem there's a solution.
This is right. And that's another thing that if I was to talk about what's one of the words I would use to describe myself, and that would be curious. I love that word. Beautiful
word, beautiful state.
Well, it is. It's a beautiful state because, as you said, sometimes it gets me into trouble.
Oh yes. Look,
but most of the time it's pretty good.
Yeah. There's no space for things like boredom, for example, when you're curious. But this is the stuff for kids to be, made aware of. I'd love to see what you're doing get really big and be picked up by the education department.
Well, watch this space.
I reckon that's it. I think there's no stopping you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. And look, so where can people get the songs?
Sure.
You can order them online, I guess.
Yes, online at our website, which is just moloko.com, and actually at the moment.
And just spell it, I think, because
it's spelled moeloco.com. And at the moment we're actually running a special which is 30% off, and you get this, I just have to move over here. You get this free sari bag, which actually has been made by mothers and children that we've taught them to be able to sew, because in India, Jane, it's actually a really great skill to have.
Yes.
Because we're now having the mothers actually start their own sewing businesses through microfinance that's been set up with our charity partner. And that means that they can actually then get their own families out of poverty. And then these have been
the ripple effect. It's working again.
Well, these are recycled saris, and the actual maker's name is on each of the bags. And so we're giving away free one of those too with every purchase. So so you can find us there. We also sell in different shops around Australia, and they're also listed on our website as well. And also, just a little plug for my friend Judith, who's running a pop-up store in Lane Cove. We're over there at the moment as well.
Good, and that's for Sydney people, I guess, or thereabouts, Lane Cove. So what's in the pop-up?
The pop-up is all sorts of other ethical type products as well.
Great.
And we've got one more pop-up to do for a fair trade market coming up ourselves on the weekend, but you can see all the events we're at. Otherwise, online is probably still your best bet.
Perfect. So look, what I always sit and wonder about at this stage in our program and with the interview is what's coming up for people as they're listening to this program. What's coming up for you in terms of where in you and where might you have been stymieing yourself in terms of creativity. If you were anything like I was for most of my life and you had trained yourself to work from, the uncreative side, if you bought into a belief about not being creative, it can be a little bit confronting. Maybe it's too harsh of a word, but I'll use it anyway. It can be a little bit kind of confronting to hear somebody's story like this, who has forever apparently been tapped into that place and has managed to open up so many portals to huge benefit. Personally, in terms of I can see how grounded you are because you're working from your purpose, Kathy. So anybody else out there who's not feeling that, fear not.
Exactly.
Fear not, because you can tap in, and it's never too late. I guess I'm an example of it's never too late.
Well, I'm the same. We're in the same vintage here, Jane. You know, I'm definitely, this is my second time around.
Oh, and it is,
you know, so I'm no spring chicken as well. But yeah, further to that, I would really like to say thank you for all of that, but I'd really like to say, if you really believe that you can do something, you will do it, because I have been through an incredible roller coaster journey with this. I can't tell you the number of times I thought I was going to quit.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yes, I
nice.
don't
Thanks for
think
sharing
that was all been a rosy road, because, you know, I really had to question my ability. Can I do this? Who the hell am I, Jane, to be able to do this?
That's one of those stories we tell ourselves.
Right,
yeah.
And that went through my mind on a daily basis for the first couple of years, and sometimes it still comes up.
Okay.
So, you know, what keeps me going is that why? Why am I doing this? Knowing that I'm on purpose, even when, you know, it feels like such an impossible situation that's come up to deal with.
Okay.
I always get through it.
Got it. Yeah, look, that's really, really a useful thing for you to have shared. Thank you, Kathy. And if we go back to the hero's journey, when you watch the YouTube video, or for those of you who've already seen it, remember that if we map this out on a clock face, there's a 6 o'clock point. And the 6 o'clock point at the bottom there is the darkest place. That we're all going to touch that place. We all have it in us. And we are all going to touch that place. And for me, the vision that comes to mind, and this I'll refer you to, I think it's the second YouTube video that will come up, or it could be the third YouTube video that will come up when you put Hero's Journey in the YouTube search area. And this is one that will show the hero's journey as it's played out through Star Wars, Harry Potter, and The Wizard of Oz. And for me, the 6 o'clock point, the image that I got really clearly, and it was sort of a catharsis point for me when I was writing my first book, the image I got clearly was when Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader are facing off. And who is Darth Vader anyway? He's Luke's shadow. Yeah. And it's that shadow that will talk to us when we're hearing the stories of, well, what right have I got? Who am I to say this? Who would want to listen to me anyway? And what if they think I'm stupid?
Yes.
What if they think I'm wrong?
What if I fail?
What if I fail? What if they think I'm up myself?
Yes, exactly.
So, and I remember the things my parents used to just say, and it was part of the decade where I guess was my formative years. The things that I remember hearing were, don't be a show pony. Yeah. Don't be up yourself. Don't have tickets on yourself.
Yeah, don't show, what's the word, show
off?
Show off.
Yeah, show off. And even more to the point, I remember as a kid, young teenager, one of the worst things someone could say about you was that you were up yourself, or that you loved yourself.
Yes,
that you loved yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Permission to love yourself, people. To
Yeah.
love yourself enough that you can back yourself. If you've got an idea that's just bubbling away, the hero's journey has us starting at the 12 o'clock point, and we will be given the call. Mine was a call to write a book. Yours, in this instance, was a call to change the lives of children in poverty. Whatever your call, whatever yours is it to run a marathon? Is it to climb a mountain? Is it to start a business? Is it to write a book? Well, we have an option.
Yeah,
it's all about choice.
That's right, it's all about choice. It's going to be different for everybody, and it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it lights your fire.
That's it. And we can spend a hell of a lot of energy at that 12 o'clock point where we know we've had the call. There'll be something niggling away. We can spend a whole lot of energy resisting the call. Yeah. Can't we? It took me 5 years, and for people who aren't watching and just listening, I'm holding my hand up and I'm doing the 5. It took me 5 years and an investment of some $30,000 in various courses and programs and what have you to finally get my book written.
But look at what you've done now.
I know, fantastic. But I see that really what I needed to do was go down to 6 o'clock and touch that place. Yeah. Touch that place in myself that needed to be acknowledged, that goes, fuck this, not good enough.
Yeah.
You know?
I am. Yeah.
I am. And hell, you come out the other side fighting.
Yeah, I totally
and
agree.
fighting
I think
like
you've
hell,
got to go down
don't
to
you?
6 o'clock, as
Yeah.
you said, because it's not till you really reach down into that you'll come out, and too many people are too scared to go there.
Oh, or get stuck there.
Yeah, or get stuck.
I tell you what,
Yeah,
I was
true.
stuck there for a little while.
Yeah.
I was indeed, and there was the pain. It can be addictive, unfortunately.
Yeah, because it becomes your story.
That's it. It's your story. I'm hanging on to this story. But our story's evolving. You've got to let the goddamn thing play out.
True. Yeah.
You know, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid that, you know, that, yes, that maybe hurt to touch that place, but that's okay. We have the whole spectrum of feelings.
That's right.
That you can't close some off without closing them all off.
Exactly, and that's just temporary. I like to say
It
when
is
I'm
temporary,
in my darkest
lovely.
moments, I like to say, this is just a moment, it will pass. That's that's my affirmation to myself.
Beautiful.
And that really
Kathy.
helps me.
Yes.
And then at the same time, when I'm in a moment which is fantastic, I also remind myself, because then I know it's going to pass quickly, and I need to hang on to that and
moment.
be in that
enjoy
moment
it.
and enjoy it and savour it.
You own that.
Yeah.
That's your moment.
Yeah.
This is reminding me of a great book. I mean, the thing is, it books for me, isn't it? But Caitlin Moran, who's a real sassy, you know, oh God, you've got to look. I'll share a YouTube video with you of hers that I saw, and she was being interviewed about her book that she was launching, and God, now I haven't got the right title for it. It's about being a girl, something about it, and she was talking about at her book launch how she would see parents of girls who were lining up to get her to sign the book, and she reflected about how she could see in the parents' eyes, please help them, please help them. And she said it was, and she knew what they meant when she would hug the girl who had no meat on her bones, and she would see the tension in the other girl's face who had been stuffing herself, who had been binging. She would see the other girl who had been cutting herself, and she said, I want to say to those girls, but all I would do was hold them, but I want to say to those girls, imagine you are the baby that you've just given birth to, or any baby for that matter. You're not going to cut that baby. You're not going to starve that baby. Remember that you are that being that deserves every amount of care that you would be giving to other people that you love, and a baby, that image of the baby is so potent. But very, very beautiful. But it is about that, coming to that place of ultimate kindness to ourselves.
This is right, because you know, society really has taught us to be very much on the outside world, and I know I was very much raised around that, you know, it's about everybody else, not you.
Yes.
Yeah, and so huge lessons for me about that, and you know, because I also got burnt out at the beginning of the year through not taking care of myself.
Yeah.
Where I was working like 20-hour days, 7 days a week for almost 3 years.
Ah, well, that's not going to work.
And that's not going to work. So that's been a really huge lesson, that if I want to help others, I've got to help myself first.
Yep.
It's the old airplane, you know,
Oh,
gas
that's it.
mask,
That's it.
analogy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I had to learn that the hard way. I had to go into that 6 o'clock place before I finally got it.
Yeah. And I tell you something else too. Self-love is not selfish.
No, definitely.
It's
That's
that
right.
selfishness. Wow.
Yeah.
What a word
Yeah.
that we can use to, you know, I'm getting a vision of someone flagellating themselves, you know, just whipping the back.
Yeah.
You know, for what?
Yeah.
For what? It's that we have the gift. It's up to all of us now.
Yes.
We can all, in our own way, make this world a fairer place.
Well, it's interesting you say it, because when I first started on my whole journey of Morocco, the instinct that I had was all around, you know, here we are, we're all disconnected, yet everyone's crying out to be connected to themselves, to others, and how powerful we all are as an individual, but we have no power if we don't connect and come together.
That's right. It's the paradox, isn't it? But that's a beautiful paradox.
And so I was very aware of that. And so, you know, when I came and I started that Facebook group as a way of doing that connection to begin with, it just totally reinforced everything that I had seen and felt about, you know, what was happening in society.
Right.
And, you know, and so anyway, it's all good because now the change is happening, and, and there's lots of other people having these same conversations, and so more and more will join those conversations and begin to come into this level of consciousness.
Lovely. And what's your Facebook group, Kathy? Because I don't think I know it.
Well, it's the Moloko one.
Oh, Moloko.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, but I had
lovely.
Started with a page called Soul Republic, which I'm not really active
Okay.
in.
No, Moloko is the important one. So that's people can join, follow you there, and really keep an eye on this. That if that whole growing community now, and the educational side of it in terms of the young people that are now starting on their entrepreneurial journey. Have they got their own?
They've got so the Instagram, we've got their own page, Moloko Youth. So that's just for them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I got to go and check those out now. That's really exciting. Really exciting. And, you know, I guess it's time to be saying to everybody, have a happy Christmas, everybody. Don't stress out too much. We've got your Christmas presents sorted here with, with the thongs. But ultimately, just give yourself a pat on the back for getting through another year. And I don't know about you, Kathy, but this has been a kind of a challenging year for so many reasons.
Yes.
Hasn't it? Look, I know personally when I'm talking to people, they'll say, "Oh God, this has been a personal year, a challenging year for A, B, C, or D." I think politically, it's been a really, really strange year.
It's been a very weird year. I found this one of my toughest years I've ever had.
Yeah.
For sure. But then, you know, that means next year's going to be a better year.
It does. Yeah. And look, for my part, what I'm really looking forward to now is pulling all of this together. For me, Bondi Radio and the creative journey, and I sort of just came up with that idea. I thought, well, this is what I love to talk about. I had no plan to actually write a book around this experience and what I'm learning, but for me now, 2018 is going to be all about the creative code and writing that and opening up people to this part of themselves, opening them up either further or at all. And the book, I think, is, for me, books are a great tool. More than one way to skin a cat, as my mother used to say. It's not the best, not the most compassionate saying in the world, but it speaks volumes to me. But for me, it's a book. For you, it's thongs. And I just want everyone to know that for you, there is some way for you to get your message out there and for you to tap into your own creative space. And I wish you all the very best for that. It's a wonderful journey. It's worth taking that ride. And you can contact me anytime if you need a hand with this. You'll find me at writewithjane.com, and you'll find me regularly on Bondi Radio. So over and out for now.